Hi, and welcome to this installation of Scaffold to Success with Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit. My name is Amanda David, and I'm an educational consultant for the IU, and I'm here to talk to you briefly about scaffolding parent communication. When it comes to parent communication, as with our students, it is key to have meaningful relationships with those parents to ensure that there is a strong collaborative partnership between teacher and parents. This will allow the student to flourish both academically and socially. There are some ways that you can very quickly begin building relationships with your parents. With way things are in the world right now, it sometimes may feel difficult to cultivate those essential relationships with your parents. But there are things that you can do that are very simple that will allow you to foster strong relationships quickly so that when there are times where you may have to have a difficult conversation, it may be able to occur in a much easier fashion for both you and the parent, and to have a collaborative and solution-based conversation. So here are some ways that you can build some meaningful relationships quickly. So a lot of times these will be things that you do at the start of the year or upon a student entering your classroom if it is mid-year. Posting pictures starting on the first day. So if you are using some sort of communication platform such as Class Dojo, that's a great way to start just showing parents what your students are doing each day. Please talk to your administrator about social media posting, whether it's with the district or what have you. Making those personal connections with parents when you are first reaching out. So even if it's something such as your child was telling me that they like to go to the beach. Oh, that's something that I did this summer. Things of that nature, just to show that, you are a person that's sometimes forgotten, unfortunately, when we are talking about teachers. So making those personal connections will allow there to be some commonality between you and the family. When you are making your first few contacts, make it a positive experience if it's feasible. Obviously, if you need to reach out to a parent due to an issue, it may not be able to be the most positive conversation. However, if you show to the parents that you are going to be communicating with them during the good times as well as the bad times, and not just when there's a problem, the parents are going to be more receptive to your contact. And being consistent. So, consistently following through with your expectations, with your policies, just as you would want your students to follow through with what they need to do, you need to as well. Being clear to your parents that you want a partnership with them. Having that attitude and conveying it to your parents that you want to have a relationship, that you want to partner with them, and that at the end of the day, you and the parent both want what's best for the child, and that you don't have any additional agenda, especially for parents who have had a negative educational experience themselves, showing that you truly are caring and you are passionate about your job, that you enjoy your job and you enjoy working with their child, they are going to be more inclined to want to have a relationship with you as their teacher. Being solution oriented. So this is a big one. When there is a problem, calling the parent and just saying, your child had a problem today, what's going to be done about it, puts a lot of pressure on that parent, especially if this is something that's happening at school and the parent may not know all of the circumstances. So it's always good to kind of come prepared with some potential solutions that you would like to bring to the table. And being open with that communication. So having that constant two-way street. Being open to parent ideas, especially if this is, a student who has specific needs. Letting the parent just share with you some strategies that work for them may work for you. So being able to be open to that is essential. And connecting with every parent. Now, this could be incredibly difficult, especially for our middle and secondary teachers, where you are going to have quite a bit of students, elective teachers all through the grades. This is something that will be difficult for you as well. But there are ways that you can reach out to parents and be able to connect with as many as you are able. There is a difference between parent contact and parent communication, and I just want to put that out there because sometimes it's viewed that these are synonymous, when really, when we're talking about contact, usually it's one form of contact. Usually it's you sending an email, a text, or a phone message, and you are disseminating information, you know, geometry test on Thursday, those sorts of things. When we're talking about parent communication, this is typically when it's a two-way form of communication. You are exchanging information and potentially coming up with solutions. And this also could be through email, text, or phone call. When I say text, I'm usually referring to those messaging apps, Remind or Class Dojo. There are some ground rules that should be put in place when it comes to parent communication, and these things need to be put in place at the start of the school year. Generally, those ground rules are setting boundaries. Do not give your personal information to parents. Establishing a form of office hours and asking for help, because that is okay. And we're going to dig a little deeper into those. When we talk about setting boundaries, basically it's to ensure that you are not being bogged down and being inundated with communication, feeling like you are drowning. So first and foremost, have a set parent communication policy. This is something that you would share out with your parents at the start of the year, and stick to it. Do not deviate from your plan. Again, you need to make sure those boundaries are clear and concise and specific. So having within your syllabus or in your open house paperwork or beginning of the school year paperwork, having things such as, it is best to contact me through telephone if this is an emergency. If it is not an emergency, you can email me, but please don't expect a response until my prep or after school. Also indicating what platforms you're using. So if you are using anything such as Schoology, Class Dojo, Remind, whatever vessel you are using to communicate with parents, be sure that that is all listed, as well as the ways to do so. Don't give out your personal information. That's it. Not smart. It is not a good idea. You would not want to have some crazy phone call in the middle of the night. And many districts do have policies with this. Use the apps that your school or your district utilizes or promotes to ensure that you are following expectations and guidelines, and it is protecting yourself at the end of the day. Establishing office hours. So in your parent communication policy, including how they can reach you and when to expect a response. This way, you are not having parents email you 19 times in a day because you didn't respond within their timeline. If you are showing the timeline that you are physically able to respond because you are busy teaching, then they will be aware. And follow through with these guidelines and share out when in-person chats are possible. There's nothing worse than you being on your prep and all of a sudden a parent shows up and you are not prepared and are not in a position to meet. So share out how in-person or Zoom chats, with the way things are right now, are feasible. Asking for help. Sometimes we need backup, and that's okay. Misunderstandings, unmet expectations, or issues that are just beyond your control can cause a parent to be heated or disrespectful, or agitated. It is not your job to primarily take the brunt of that force. So if there is an issue, remain professional first and foremost and call for backup. Whether that be your teacher leader, whether that be a mentor, whether that be an administrator in the building, be sure to have someone who you know that you can reach out to who will be able to support you. Something else you can do is also carbon copy your emails and include them, or at least make them aware of meetings that you are going to be having with that parent. So if we are dealing with a parent who you've been struggling with throughout the year, or you feel as though you may be put in an uncomfortable situation, you are okay to ask for that backup and be sure that your administration knows when you are going to be meeting with them. Here are some unique forms of parent communication. So phone calls and emails aren't the only way to go. One being weekly newsletters or monthly newsletters. This could be done while you're making lesson plans. So as you're working on your lesson plans, you can pop into a newsletter template what spelling lists or what chapter you're going to be working on. And it can highlight just the week's focuses, the focus and events, assessments, field trips, things of that nature. And that can be disseminated by paper or electronically. Some teachers do both. That way you can ensure that your parents are receiving the pertinent information that you're sharing out. Assessment reports. So this is something that can be done or paper. Through your grading system, you might be able to send a blast of what assessments have been populated within your system. You can send out reports when you're doing benchmarks, things of that nature, but letting parents know in real time what is going on. If it is something that is of urgent matter, if you have a child who is failing, the assessment report may not be the only thing you want to utilize when you are reaching out to those parents. You will want to have some sort of phone call or Zoom or in-person meeting to discuss concerns regarding failure. Class blogs. So turning your students into bloggers, having a window in your classroom so parents can see and comment what is happening during their school day sometimes is a huge stepping stone when it comes to that parent communication piece, because they're going to know exactly what is going on. Podcasting is another way. So just having students run a podcast so they can work on their public speaking skills as well as sharing classroom information. So this could be in the form of classroom announcements or classroom news, having the students prepare what those announcements are going to be, having students record it and then blasting it out to the teachers. Obviously, you need to make sure you are doing for both blogs, podcasting, and vlogs, that if there are any students who cannot be recorded or have photos taken, they will not be able to be included. So that is something you need to make sure that you are on top of. For class vlogs, very similar to the blogs and the podcasting, creating a news show or a vlog with your students that can be shared out on a regular basis. This is something that students will enjoy taking ownership of and really build a sense of community within your classroom. Here are some additional just tips, tricks, things that may be helpful to you. At the start of the year, share with parents the method of which you'll be communicating, and I just added a couple things that you could create. You can find these anywhere. Train parents on how to use the technology that you're using to communicate. Ideally, you would be doing this during open house, where you would, have everyone get out your phone. Here's the QR code, scan it. Here's how we're going to use Class Dojo. Here's how we're going to use Remind. Does everyone have this? Confirm email addresses at that time. Obviously, there's a good chance you're not going to have everyone at open house or your virtual open house, meet the teacher night, those things. do the best that you can to reach out to those parents to ensure that they have what they need. So maybe for those parents who are not at open house or meet the teacher night, you make a video and do step-by-step directions. We're all pretty well versed in Zoom at this point and how to record a Zoom and share your screen. So you could quickly make a video and blast that out to parents so that they have access to the platforms that you are utilizing. Other than regular updates, just check in periodically. When I was a classroom teacher, I had really great relationships with some of my parents just because I would just call and check in and just say, hey, just wanted to just see if there was anything you needed. How are you? Or if a student mentioned something about, mom had surgery, or, they were going through a rough time, just reaching out and saying, hey, so-and-so mentioned that, you're getting surgery, just wanted to wish you the best, and reach out if you need anything. Doing something as simple as that can mean the world to a parent. Again, especially if you have a parent who did not have the best educational experience, showing your parents that you care about their children and your students will mean the world and could completely change the dynamic between you and a parent. Tackle problems before they snowball and reach out to parents as soon as possible when the issue arises. Get in front of it before it gets in front of you. That was always a saying that I would hear. So, if your prep has come and gone and something has occurred, either seeing if someone can cover your class so you can reach out to the parent, or have someone take your kids out during dismissal so that you can reach out to that parent immediately, or you just simply walk out with the student at parent pickup or whatever the situation may be, so that you can directly talk to that parent so that the issue can be addressed and you will be able to not have any loss in translation with not being able to reach out to the parent right away. Tell parents about yourself. Show that you're human too. I already said this, but I have to say it again. If you're a parent, mention that you're a parent. If you're a dog mom, mention that you're a dog mom. Whatever the case may be, just showing a little bit of yourself just shows that you are a person. And oddly enough, sometimes that's all you need to change how a parent approaches you. Follow up with parents and ensure that they're receiving updates. So not just if you're not hearing from the parents, but just checking in and saying, hey, just want to make sure that this email address is still current. I wanted to make sure that this phone number was still current. Susie mentioned that you're getting a new phone. Just wanted to make sure that you are still using this number, things of that nature. Include additional staff and team members. So if you have a student who has an IEP or is receiving services, or even if this is just a student who needs a little extra help across the board, when you are communicating with those parents, include anyone who is involved with that student so that that communication can be shared out. That way, again, we're not playing whisper down the alley. And if something is going on and that parent replies, everyone's getting that reply, or you can easily forward that reply. And that is the end of our chat. I want to thank you for taking the time. Putting in the work in the start of the school year or right when you receive a student is essential, because once you have your parents in and that relationship is built, that communication piece isn't going to solely fall on you. It's going to be a two-way street between you and your parents. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. And again, thank you for stopping in for this installment of Scaffolding, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.